PKTT. I saw some N on it now. I'm not sure about it. So
Minister Mchunu put the N there in front.
I don't know N. So
because this is important in the context of Minister Mchunu's evidence or contention that the PKTT had been dissolved.
Okay.
And that it was, according to him, an illegal, unlawful structure since 2022. So just talk us through some decisions that were taken at that meeting on the 5th of September and who was in attendance.
Well, I'm sure the whole minutes could be available. So present in that meeting, I think it was Cele, Lamola, Matale, and Dise and the Premier of KZN apologized. So that was interministerial then. And then I think 4 resolutions, that is on the 5th of September, it was attended, it was Lamola, Matala. But if you go to resolutions, 47.1, the first resolution was that Minister Lamola would engage the NPA on the matter of dedicated courts for political killings, which means there are activities of this committee that are still going on, have not been accomplished. One of them is this court issue. The second one is, the second resolution was the Minister Lamola was to deal with the issue of transfer of prisons to Kokstad prison. There was a problem there. They will be transferred, and unknowingly to the team and the investigating office in somebody will take them back to where they come from and continue with their activities. So the minister had to deal with this, that those that are taken to Kokstad, they stay in Kokstad. Fourth one was that, third one, resolution was the success of the PKTT would be communicated in the media briefing to be held on behalf of the IMC. The media briefing eventually took place on the 6th, 2023. Obvious. 4, the final resolution was that the PKTT could not dissolve and that it must continue. That is the 5th September 2023 decision taken by the interministerial.
Okay. So what is your response to Minister Mchunu saying that the PKTT was disestablished?
By who?
Already since 2022.
Disestablished by who?
Well, it's not quite clear what he's saying, who said so. I think we have asked him, I think honourable members of the committee asked him, and that it's an illegal structure.
The President instructs the ministries. The ministers go there. The ministers call their relevant top officials of the department to bring all components together. They come together. The team is formed. The team starts the work, and will agree. Maybe you are not going on details of the success and all that. It continues up to the end of the 5th administration. Comes the 6th administration, it continues. And these interministerials, as these ministers, the new under the ministries, they are there. And it goes for election 2024. This is there. I don't remember anywhere as the chair and those that we're working with talking about dismantling this team at all. What I would also remember is that, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, on the 7th of March 2024, the same team went to brief the president about the activities that they were doing in Fort Hare, since it was requested by the president to look at the matters of, we can come, how it came about on that one. So this is now March 2024. We're going for election March, May. So this team is still active. I don't remember anywhere as a person that was almost involved at all in the understanding of activities. I don't remember the team being disbanded until I saw the letter that was written on the 21st December.
The 31st of December.
31st of December, when we're drinking and dancing.
Now, your view is captured at paragraph 49 on page 18.
Paragraph 49.
Yeah, on page 18 of your statement.
Okay. Yes, it is there. That's how.
You want to read that into the record?
In my view, PKTT was established by the IMC under the leadership of the President, and therefore only the IMC could disestablish it. I have heard in these proceedings the submission that no IMC had been established under the 7th administration. I submit that this argument is incorrect. The IMC consists of ministries that form the multidisciplinary team, not the political incumbents, the ministers, who may change with each administration. The IMC, therefore, continued to exist even under the 7th administration. The Minister of Police, therefore, had to consult with the IMC that had established the PKTT before deciding to disband it. Any disestablishment of PKTT would also have to be done in consultation with the departments that form part of the steering committee of the IMC that had oversight over the PKTT. I can add to say there is also a JCPS cluster. If maybe it's not very clear with the existence, JCPS cluster, which Minister of Justice and Minister of Police are co-chairs. It could have been discussed there. Maybe if really it doesn't, it could have been, the clearance could have been sought from the President that there is this, what do I do, does it exist or not? But you cannot just one swallow that makes summer here. Which is a Minister of Police that does not take on board the rest of everybody that is there to talk about this thing. I'm not going to make a conclusion whether it's illegal. I'm not a lawyer, but procedurally, I do not agree with it. The way that it has come through, it should have reversed the same way back. That will be my argument.
We're going to go now to the Minister's Directive of 31 December. But just to round off on whether or not the PKTT is still in existence, you recall having I'm not sure whether you call it a discussion or just out of interest, that you spoke recently with the Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development, and on her, as it were, job description, the PKTT was still one of the functions allocated to her as Minister of Justice and Constitutional Development.
Well, as you minister, you join, I think your officials will take you through. And it starts with maybe the handover from your predecessor. The time is short. It took me 2 hours with my successor. So there is a lot of things. But then you go to the officials of the department, and then they'll tell you the duties. It does, hearing from Minister Kubai, it still does come through as one of her jobs to be part of the IMC on this one. That would be my latest information.
Yeah. The directive of the 31st of December 2024, you'll find it next to your statement as Annexure BC4 on pages 49 to 50. Have you got it there, General?
Yeah, I have it. Thanks.
When did you first see or hear of or were told about this directive, and what was your reaction, your response?
Chairperson, there is a funny chain here. I don't know how I got in the group of Machel. There is a yeah. That would be my latest information. So when I looked at the letter, I said, but this can't be. The letter opens 3 political task hearings. The first word is in 2019, which is wrong. I said, but the real one that has taken the center stage is a PKTT. So when I looked at the letter, I said, but this can't be. The letter opens 3 political task hearings. The first word is in 2019, which is wrong. In 2019, that is wrong. A directive was made to the National Commission of Police following Morano Commission. That is wrong. There is no direction made to the national. The direction was made to the interministerial. That then invited other people. And it was not after Morane. It was after the president has made an announcement in Maritzburg. Later he came to Parliament, but earlier has made that standing on a white hippo, saying these ministries must go there. So this Morane can't be correct. Then they say it's flowing from there. The interministerial task force be established, and it's not the force, it's the interministerial committee. The key mandate was correct: stop, investigate, resolve unresolved matters, which is a stabilization of the situation. That one is correct. My observation in this regard, which should not be the individual observation, it should be the observation of the committee, I guess. Is that further existence of this team is no longer required, nor is it adding any value of policing in South Africa. I therefore direct that the political task team be disestablished immediately. Further, that a preliminary report in this regard be submitted to the minister by the 20th. Observing it, if it were me, I would have said, give me the report on the 20th of this task team. And armed with the report, then I would know what decision I'm taking. But to dismantle, and when the report, what is the report for now? Because the decision is taken. But it goes on to say, this is 20th of January. The final and closing report must be submitted to the Ministry Management Executive Committee meeting in January 2025, the date of which will be communicated as soon as possible. It does look like there is an issue with this January. Well, the letter is written few hours before January. Yes, it's December, but it's 5. We are just to come to January. The letter is written, and then give report 20th January. I don't know if the letter did come, the report, but 22nd of January, Mary Diaz writes the letter to the National Commissioner, and Moses, asking him,
Sorry.
have you done
General,
what...
sorry, Honourable Chair, can I just point out to honourable members that there is a small, sorry, there's a little bundle with 2 documents attached. The Mary Diaz letter of 22 January 2025, page 1 to 2, and then there's an article on political killings, political interference, which is written by a Christine, but quotes extensively Professor De Haas. Have you got that, General? That's the letter you're referring to.
Yes, I do have that letter. I do have that letter. National Commissioner Self-Lieutenant General Masimula pre-email good. That is 22nd January 2025. The headline says, your failure to follow ministerial instruction and disband the political killing team is impacting negatively on the crucial policing work in KwaZulu-Natal. So that is a letter which I think paragraph 3 says, according to a report I have just received, I don't know you received this report from who, Mary Diaz, from concerned police or from concerned members, detectives in KZN cannot take exhibits to Pretoria Laboratory because there are no funds to travel, the funds allegedly having been diverted to the political killing team, leaving crucial evidence, e.g. drugs, firearm, DNA, and cell phones in the province contaminated. 4, in other words, if these allegations are true, the Provincial Commissioner in KZN is complicit in ignoring instructions given by the Minister and obstructing regular policing activities in KwaZulu-Natal. Please investigate and report to the Minister and Parliament immediately. Immediately.
So you were saying, you were somehow suggesting that there's a whole confluence, a whole getting together of factors in January 2025, immediately, shortly after the directive of 31 December 2025, which you found quite...
It does look like there was something about January.
Yeah.
I don't know what is it. But my take with all this process, Chairperson, it starts with Mary writing the letter on October. And I found some similarities of the content of the letter, because this immediately is also there in that letter.
That letter is on pages 51 through to 58.
That is October. So then there is a discussion of a certain stain on his written opinion piece, if it is opinion piece. Very excited to say the minister or the professor has instructed the national commissioner to disband. And 31st January happens, 31st December happens. And January, Mary, who wrote in October, comes back now, not to the minister now, to the national commissioner. The report must come on the 20th. Mary is very close to understanding whether the report has come on the 20th. But 22nd, we are bad. she's asking if that has been done. So it's my take, my genesis of my problem with this is Mary having played quite a big role. I must admit, the Mkhwanazi allegation at the later stage of cartels and all that, I don't understand that much until I hear from Mkhwanazi and what is. This is a matter called by the president to the ministers. And the ministers call on their operators, which are DGs and all that. So it's both. So if anybody needs to take decision about it, he needs to walk all the path of both policy and operations, since it was taken that way. I have said, the way that we have come down, let's use it to go up. It cannot be that it's taken by president to ministers, to DGs, to the team. And when the team goes, we just go to one place and we say, here it is. That would be wrong. What I would not argue here, I would not say is illegal or unlawful. Those that are better placed to say so, they will. But for me, it's unprocedural and wrong.
The General went to a great deal of length to explain why the minister should have consulted IMC or JCPS cluster. Now, if he were minister, would he, if he wanted to close the PKTT, could he have, by consulting IMC and JCPS, or even seeking permission for the president, does he think it would have been in his authority to do that? Thanks, Chair.
General, what steps would you have followed if you wanted to dissolve the PKTT?
Let me start with the contradiction. If I'm not mistaken, the statement has been made that since 2022 there was no interministerial. I think I have heard that. If there is no interministerial, then there is no chair. What authority do you have to dismantle things that don't exist as you argue? That's the first one. But on this one, this structure is not done by one department, which you are member of it. Basically, there were 4 core departments. Others would come. I remember that Home Affairs would come, attend, and all that kind of stuff. But there were 4 that were core. That was Justice, which was together with the Correctional Service. I know now they are splitted, which means now we would call both Justice and Correctional Service. Secondly was Defense. Then was the State Security. For me, if it's not clear, unless you say there is a legal advice that has been given to you that there is no interministerial, if it is not, I'm sure it will be a respect to go to the colleagues to say, there is this thing. I'm not sure what next to do. I'm part of you. I'm one of you. I'm not thee. I'm not thee. I'm one of you. This interministerial, there is the Minister of Justice, there is Minister of Defense, there is Minister of State Security. Invite them. And they say, look, we don't know what to do about this matter. Maybe a person, if you all don't know, some would say we continue as it happened. I did say, Honorable Member, there was precedence that 2018, this thing came 2018. After election 2019, there was continuity after that. Maybe if then you are not sure, you say, somebody here came with idea of the interministerial. Let's ask that person. It happens to be a president. Maybe even you go to the president, can we put this matter of disbandment to the structure that we know exists with the JCPS cluster, where all these ministers, they sit on it. So some kind of consultation, some kind of walking the path should have happened, Honorable Chair. Should have.
The 2018 task team was established by the IMC. Before that one, there was a task team that was in existence. I don't know who established it. Now, the evidence that was put before us is that that task team was dismantled because it was not functional. It was not efficient. It was not producing any tangible results. The result of which they established this new task team, which is multidisciplinary in its formation, which consisted of all the stakeholders that we have mentioned. Now, what criteria was used to identify police officers in this new, the 2018 task team?
You say this was dismantled. Let me add, after it has been met by the IMC, it was not dismantled telephonically or through the letter. It was met and discussed and assessed, and everybody agreed that it has produced zero work. I think you see that difference, Honorable Member, of meeting by the IMC now. And the IMC, we need to change the lane here. One thing that was identified in the meeting, because we had information out of the meeting, was that there were many members of the task team, which happened to be the police alone. It was not multidisciplinary. There were many members that were consumed on the violence that was going on. Therefore, the problem was not going to be resolved. So those members had to be taken out and bring the members coming from the different provinces that have no roots and understanding of the people that were there. That was criteria, because the major problem was that those members were themselves involved. Hence, at the later stage, quite several of the members there were arrested because they were part of problem. Okay. But that information derived from the meeting rather than writing the letter. IMC could have written the letter to say we're dismantling you, but did not do so. It went there, met those people, and discussed.
So is there any founding document that was establishing this task team, which was giving guidance on how it must operate, or it was a resolution that was made, followed by a media statement? Is there any founding document?
Interministerial called their departments, and then their departments had to send their people. The police have to send their persons. From the side of the police, yes, there is a document establishing that, Honorable Member. Okay. There is a note establishing it.
Okay. Now, the NPA was accounting where? Was accounting to the NPA?
No.
For the work of the PKTT?
Was accounting to interministerial.
Okay.
They could account separately, but procedurally they had, because their minister was sitting in the interministerial. All those departments, there was this team of DGs, Honorable Member, that were there, who would then come, and then the ministers come and listen to them as they account. I would not deny that maybe the prosecutors might have briefed the head of or DG. I would not. But framework was that they report to the interministerial.
Okay, so in the media statement that you made on the, let me see, on the 3rd of August 2018, you made these remarks, open quote, "As a way of progress, we have taken a decision to change the members of the task team that were responsible for the investigations into the killings. The new project team has 118 new members plus 8 members from the previous task team." So you took 8 from the previous one. And why did you take them? They were more efficient than others. Is that a correct assumption?
After the discussion, that's what we discovered. After the discussion, I hope the discussion really helped.
Yeah. Now, there are cases which were withdrawn, General. There are cases, I remember at some point, the case of Makaka, the arrests which were made in 2017, if my memory serves me well, between 2017 and 2018. Now, General Mkhwanazi made an averment here that in the previous task team, they identified some elements of criminality. Ipso facto, they decided to establish this new one. Now, was there any collaboration in terms of the assessment that you made between the police officers and the NPA members, the prosecutors, which led to the withdrawal of cases in court? You would remember how the first arrest happened in Cindy Somakaka case. The accused were arrested. I think they spent about a week or 2 weeks in jail in Pietermaritzburg. Later charges were withdrawn. Was that as a consequence of an unethical collaboration between the police and the prosecution? Or it was just a genuine withdrawal, there was no sufficient evidence?
I have no authority to say it was so. But they might have suspicions of other things, like the prosecutors and magistrates. Remember, this team was given 4 months, and it would be extended maybe another 3 months. What was key and happening is that the case will be open, Honorable Member, and postponed and adjourned to the immediate after the expiry of the term of the team, which means if it expires, would have gone to ordinary kind of investigation that was there. So that kind of thing, it did tell us that there's some collaboration here. There are some methodologies, some methods that are used to tire this team, because we know that after 3 months it's going. So it will be 2 days after the team is expected to go that then you can come to court. On that score then, that's, by the way, another thing that informed the decision of the DGs to say we're not going to give the timeline now of when it ends, so that they deal with the matters that are there. But also it was raised with the leadership of the NPA that we suspect that there is a problem in terms of prosecutors and the magistrate. Evidence on that, I don't. But evidence, the thing that I can put on the table is that there is that timing of this team postponement and coming to it. So what happened to those suspects you talk about, one of them I think is dead, may his soul rest in peace too, was withdrawn. But most of us were very much happy. We're very much unhappy about that withdrawal. So when then you are briefed is that there is insufficient information. When the information is sufficient, it will be reinstated. So you can't do anything about that.
Okay. So my assumption is that you decided to establish a new modus operandi, this multidisciplinary approach, because you wanted all the components of the value chain of the justice cluster to be involved, so that there will be no complaint. There's a general complaint by the police that we arrest people and they get bail on the following day. You have also made a mention of that. So you brought all these role players together so that there can be a link and a proper handover to say police who are here, prosecution who are here, the prosecutor will account for progress, judges are here and so on and so forth. So did that kind of arrangement make any significant impact or any significant progress as compared to the previous one, the previous arrangement?
Huge impact, huge, very big. Maybe when you see the statistics and what happened, it was not just big, it was huge.
Okay. Now, General, do you have a friend in a taxi industry? A friend or friends?
In the taxi industry,
yes.
A friend.
Yeah.
I don't have friends.
So you don't have a friend who is a taxi boss?
No.
Do you have people that you speak with at a personal level, in a taxi industry?
What do you mean personal level? Hey, how are you?
I mean people that you don't speak about business or work.
No, in the taxi industry, most people that I speak, it comes from their business, especially on violence. And there are quite several people that I would speak to them in terms of trying to resolve problems. One of them would be Mandla Kaba, one of them would be Mswazi, one of them would be Ujo. I've recently spoken to Ujo, and there will be others. And by the way, it's not new. The many of them that I've spoken to them, but it will be more on relation to the work they do.
Okay, so was this PKTT, because I'm trying to establish here whether a narrative that was put out there that the PKTT was no longer effective was correct or not. Was this PKTT able to go to the root cause of political killings in KZN? And can I share you a perspective? I had also put the same perspective to General Masemula. That my observation, General, is that because of a decline of a profit margin in a taxi industry, the former taxi bosses have crossed the floor. They have crossed from taxi businesses to tenders. And they are anchors in a tendering system, are councillors or are politicians. Now, to safeguard their interests, they make sure that their people are always in power because it's their people who give jobs to them. And they do anything in their power, including using the same modus operandi that they used while they were at the helm of a taxi industry. They use the same modus operandi of eliminating people who appear to be a stumbling block to their business interests. So I think largely that is what contributes to a scourge of political killings. Do you agree with that? Do you agree with my perspective?
No, I don't.
Are you willing to go further, General, or I must go to another?
Well, the question is, do I agree? I say I don't.
Okay. Do you have any perspective which opposes mine?
Chairperson, the taxi industry problem is old. It's very old. I would suspect that it might be older than you, Honorable Member. I don't know how old, but to me, we don't look that old. Especially under the special dispensation. I think there was much, this perspective, if you come, does not come from now, if it is there. There was an industry that was not regulated from the very word go. I don't know where were you when taxis were valiants. Do you know the car called a Valiant? Yeah, okay. Honorable Skosana would know that one. So there where they started with I'm a Valiant, I'm a four-seater, and all that kind of thing. So unregulated. So it was an easy kind of business where mostly black people could come, because others, there were no opportunities. And indeed, it was allowed to go unregulated and then became the survivor of the fittest some time ago, not now, some time ago. By the way, there have been commissions after commissions working on this industry. What is a problem on it? But at the later stage, there was the entrance of big criminality on it. One of it, people that have stolen the money, especially cash heist, they came in this industry, honorable member. Some of them, they came here because it's easy to wash your money. You work with cash and every day. In the early years, I think 96, I remember Ndebele was an MSc for transport. We tried to work on the program called recapitalization. That recap, you had 6 forms to sign. 2 of them was blue and yellow. I can't remember which was yellow. But the other one was say, write your criminal records. And the other one will say, write your SARS history. And those, as they fill those forms, the filling will end there. They would not come on it, because they wanted to continue with cash, and cash helps to money laundering, clean, and all that. So those elements, they came on it. So indeed, I would half agree with you that there have been floor crossing to tenders with some of them. But what we would not agree is that this criminality entering this industry is new. It has been evolving. Taxi, cash heist, robberies, tenders, politicians coming on. It has been evolving all the time.
At the center of these political killings is a fight for tenders. Is that correct? At the center. People are not necessarily fighting to be councillors, but they are fighting for tenders. Is that a correct narrative? That's
a big statement. I'll have to be given that information. I don't have that information. I don't have that information that people die for tenders. In KZN, political killings come from very far, come as en masse, where it would be political, though the political issue was a front, it was a system that was killing people. There were no tenders there. There were no tenders. When people were dying in numbers, at 1 year, honorable member, there are 52 weeks in the year. 52 weeks. I spent 47 weeks burying people dying in numbers. So, absolutely, that was even before the election, so there were no tenders. It could have been evolved, and then you say it will be tenders. But the matter, the matter of Shoba and the people that were killed on the Christmas day, there were no tenders for that. They were not killed for tenders.
Okay, not that. Thanks, Makai. I think this is my second last question. General Mkhwanazi said when he appeared before this committee that he thinks General Khumalo has been a target for a very long time in the SAPS. At some point, there was an attempt to assassinate him in an airport And there was an attempt to unfairly link him with a murder of Cinematography Makaka. Do you agree with those sentiments?
That he has been a target?
Yes.
I agree.
Now, I made a follow-up to that question that is he in possession of evidence which suggests that he has never been involved in a murder of Cinematography Makaka? And he said yes. And I know that during your time as a minister, they were also accounting to you for progress that they've made in some cases. And the case of Cinematography Makaka was one of the most popular cases.
I don't have that information.
You don't have that information. Thank you very much. The chair has indicated that I'm running out of time. Thank you, Chair.
You know, Makaka was a good friend of mine.
And they refused you going to the funeral.
They refused me to bury him, but I pay for school fees of his children now.
That's good of you. I was at the funeral, though I was not in government then.
It is his time.
Thank you, Chair. Baba Ndosi. Ngiyaphila Nkosi yami.
Siyaphila lo ngenhloniphekile lo.
Siyaphila.
Leshaya umthetho sikazwelonke.
Asithembe baba, asithembe. Nkosi yami, ngicela ukubuza la. Ekuqaleni kwethemu yakho obuminister suke ugcine until ekugcineni. Did you know of any of the allegations lezi ezikhulunywayo ngoGeneral uSibiya zokuthi eGauteng wayethenge i-equipment engekho emthethweni to nanokuthi uMr Herman Mashaba we-Action SA bafihla information from uLokhunja from former public protector mayelana ne-competence yakhe ukuthi akayiphasile base bemqasha?
I knew a problem about the equipment, the gadget. The competence and all that I had from you for the very first time. And I was surprised. I didn't know about that. But I did know that there were problems about the question of gadget.
Okay, kukhona wakwenza mhlambe kulelo banga lelo mphathi.
Khona engakwenza?
Yeah, kulento ema gadget. Mhlambe wakhuza wathetha wenza.
Ngingenaphi lapha? This is municipality. I'm a minister of police.
Wambuza kodwa.
Uba.
Yena mhlambe uSibiya mhlambe kwalithola ithuba lokuthi umbize.
Was not a police. Sibiya was not a police.
Angithi ngibuza ngoba mhlambe mase sebenza endaweni ephethwe wena mhlambe kumbuza indoda nje bososebenza la kumina kunecala elithi ngapha kwenzakalana.
I could not have asked him because 3 institutions had already cleared him, and I've mentioned those institutions. But when this was raised there, I was a minister of police, not a mayor. I'm sure the mayor could have done better to ask him.
Okay, no ngiyabonga kakhulu ba. Kule ndaba le 360 million tender yakaKhet. Ngiyazi ukuthi awungeni mhlawumbe endabeni yokuthi alithole itender. And ngiyayazi procedure yokuthi tender lihamba kanjani ukuze litholwe. But I just want to know ukuthi wena as a minister, because it's alleged ukuthi politicians, specifically ministers, have influence. Did you have any influence ukuthi alithole leli tender mhlawumbe uKhet Matlala?
I didn't know anything about the tender, let alone influence. I could not have influenced the tender that I didn't know about.
Ubudlelwano bakho no General Khumalo bunjani boma babunjani?
Muphi Khumalo?
Khumalo lo boshwe.
Uno General Jabulani, uno Dumsani. Muphi.
uDumsani
Okay. No.
Head of Intelligence.
Ubudlelwano bami is good. Okay, wa good.
Buke balimala phambilini?
Lutho.
Kaze.
Lutho.
Nalo omunye uJabulani? Jabulani Khumalo ngoba usomfakile ngisale ngikubuza.
Okay. I'm not very close to Jabulani like Khumalo. Khumalo work quite closely. Ujabulani has been, Utumsan, we have worked very close, especially what put us together are these things of political killings. He has been a special task force, Ujabulani, so he's more on the operation out there. But that we are enemies or I hate him, it would be a ridiculous statement to say. No.
Ngikubuza ngoba ngifuna ukunderstanda la mphathi ukuthi lokukhubhana kwalabo general lephezulu ngokwakho ucabanga kubangelwa yini kwasuswa yini futhi makuthi khona ozophumelela between these two parties uyowina ini yini lelwelwayo lapho ngokubuka kwakho usewumphathi as a minister
babengahubhani ngisekhona bahubhane manje sengihambile
manje sohambile
baze bahubhane ngikhona nawe akazuzwa
ngokwakho ukwazi yini inkinga mphathi
ngeke ngazi ngoba ngikho
lutho asibeke phansi kahle kodwa ngijabule kahle ngiyabona
no
Minister
but kunjalo angikho so ngizokwazi kanjani
angifuni ukuxabanisa nawe ngibiza nginono manje ngithi angibaleke lapho Minister uformer minister Mchunu ukhulume ngendaba yokuthi ungihlolile kahle kahle enkulumeni ye recording ye voice recording. I just want to know from you as a minister because ngibonile mawucala ukukhuluma ukuthi cha indoda eqotho uyibeka nje into enjalo pertaining ukurecordwa komuntu efonini ungamtshelanga noma ungayitholanga permission. What's your take on that? Is it correct makathi kumele ube khona kwesithathu?
That is illegal.
As a minister, is it a criminal offense to do that if we are a minister? The question is that
you see, you phone the bank or they phone you, they say we must warn you. You could simply say I'm dropping it now, or any other people they would say I would warn you. This one I thought it's illegal that I speak to you and you are taping me. Whether it's a criminal offense or whatever kind of it, I can't tell. The learned friends can tell on that one. But I would suspect that is, maybe saying is illegal is a strong term, but I don't think it's permitted that you can tape me without my consent.
Njengomunye wayephethe amaphoyisa in the minister's position, cela ukubuza as a citizen. Ubaba uMchunu ufike la wathi ke yena uyena onikeze according to me uthe instruction yokuthi abomrecorder Mkhwanazi uMr Mchunu uMr Nkabinde but ugcine sethi ke kuba umbono wakhe. Do you think as a minister unikeze umbono o illegal noma u exempted from ukuthi wenze iphutha?
So I don't think it's a correct thing to tape somebody that is not. I'm trying to avoid using legal teams or legal, no unlawful and all that. I don't belong there. But I would say I see nothing right about it. I guess it is wrong. If then the wrong thing, you can't come here and boast that you have stolen, but it's me who gave you you the instruction to go and steal. So you would have told me that, but especially for understanding. By the way, Nkabinde is a cop. He's a police, Nkabinde. So he cannot be given by a civilian an instruction when he's a police himself and has worked as a police and worked in the IPIT and all that kind of stuff. You cannot. The Constitution and legislative is very clear that you can't take the wrong instruction. Even the Constitution says so.
Were you aware of the alleged unethical relationship between the former IPIT head, or Robert McBride, and Paul O'Sullivan?
Well, yes, I have heard they are quite close by Zwana, but I don't have the evidence. How far does it take and all? But I've heard so that bayezwana even emsebenzini I was told ukuthi bayasizana.
Njoba usuthi ke uNkabinde beyiphoyisa kuchaza ukuthi uyamazi umbuzo wami uzoba ukuthi did you know Nkabinde law server as the chief of staff manje, but on record do you know him? Just for the record.
Yes, I do.
You do. Do you know why yekela kwa IPID?
I don't know why, but it looks like it was a clash between him and one of the seniors. I can't remember who that senior was, but looks like there was a clash. I don't think it was a voluntary kind of resignation, but it looks like there was some clash with the senior people, which I really can't remember very, very well.
In paragraph 2 of Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi's statement, he claims that information he presented before the ad hoc committee was based on personal knowledge, relevant document, and discussion with informed officials. But we've been informed that the error occurred and he'll be writing a senior statement on that matter. So I wanted to ask a question on it, but the question is it true that Lieutenant General Mkhwanazi stopped communicating with you after you persuaded him, after you persuaded him to ask General Khumalo to resign from SAPS?
It's not true.
It's not true. What can I do?
I think I spoke in June, and he sent me a message in July. So sending a message out, guess, is a communication.
So, awukaze umcela ukuthi aphushele uKhumalo ukuthi mhlamba resign SAPS.
No, I did speak to him about Khumalo coming to work in Gauteng. We did speak about that.
Okay, ngiyabonga. Bengifuna nje ukudlulisa lapho. Ngithathe enkulumeni yakho ukuthi lento yamahearsay yawo uyithandi. So ngifuna siyibuke la. Do you know ukuthi who funded the ANC with CR17 campaign?
No, I don't know.
You don't know. You said MK ufandwe uLiebenberg or ufande uBab Zuma. And I think the MK party would maybe write and talk to that matter if they wish to do so, or even uBab Zuma. So if you don't know ama funders were CR17 documents that were sealed, what intelligence did you use to get the information MK found Liebenberg?
It was a public information. No, it was a public information that Liebenberg himself did say he has helped Umsholos to pay 500,000 for him, for his case to be enrolled.
Confirm
yes, I have confirmed it.
How did you confirm Leo Malile?
Because it was in the court papers, and then the matter was then enrolled.
When as ubabcele uyayiconfirma leyo mali unabufakazi bokuthi ayiwayithola ngempela le mali?
Ayike uLuenberg, having said that publicly, that is information. I might be lying if he lies, but if he speaks the truth, I'm speaking the truth.
Okay, uthathi here and say wayichupha.
No, I go on here say. It's from the horse's mouth.
Thank you, babcele. uLiebenberg lo khuluma ngayo uyena lo wanikeza unkosikazi kaBaba uPaul Mashatile iring ye-diamond?
Yes.
Uyena loyo?
Not a ring.
I-diamond?
A piece of diamond.
Piece of diamond. Uyena yena loyo?
Yes.
Okay. It's very clear.
So, impela uyena.
Ngiyabonga kakhulu. Bengifuna nje sidlule lapho. uMatlala ukhethe njengoba usuvumile ukuthi uyamazi.
Angaze ngiphike futhi.
Ngiyabongisa baba. Wazi amadoda amakhulu. You said uMatlala wanted to fund the president yakababa Mchunu. Siyavumelana.
What did I say?
You said Matlala wanted to fund a presidency kaBaba Mchunu.
Matlala told me that he was requested to fund. That he wanted, I'm not sure. But that he was told, I'm told.
You are told. Ngizahamba kule ama hearsay ne. Lama hearsay ongawathandi.
No,
Siselapho.
it's not a hearsay. It's a horse's mouth.
Sho njalo.
Yeah.
Okay. So do you think kunawo umthelela lokuthi itender kaMatlala icisho ize ivalwe lokuthi mhlawumbe akafunanga ukufunda uBaba Mchunu?
That will be hearsay. And I don't want to get in the hearsay. I've never had it. It will be said by me, and when I will be hearing a hearsay from me. I have no information either told or read anywhere that is the case. So I really don't know about that.